Space, the final frontier. These are the thoughts of a crazy man. Its mission is to explore. Nah, my mission is just to entertain you for a little while. And hopefully I will. Because guess who's back? That's right, the crazy man himself, the K-Man. And today, we're going to be talking about space and our old favorite UFOs. So stick around. Well. Look who finally decided to show back up.
Look what the cat dragged in.
And I know you're sitting there thinking, K-Man, where you been? What have you been doing? And why'd you leave us hanging for so long?
Don't leave me hanging!
And all I can say is, I apologize. I sincerely am sorry. Because I said that I was going to keep up with this a lot better than I have, and I haven't. And I won't go into full details, but I will just say that I let a lot of things get my focus that should not have had my attention like it did. And so now, here we are. But hey, the K-Man, the Krazy Man, Krazy K, is back. And crazier than ever. Maybe even be turning it up a notch or two. Who knows? We'll see. Perhaps not. I don't know. That's one thing about the K-Man. You just never know what you're going to get. But you will get a podcast. That is guaranteed. Anyways, I guess we need to get on to the topic before everybody starts tuning out and turning off the podcast, and then I will be very sad. So if you haven't turned it off yet, please feel free to let me know. I'll wait. I'm not hearing anybody say that they haven't turned it off yet. Still waiting. Oh, that's right. You can't respond to me on this, can you?
No!
Yes. Anyways, the topic, I figured that since I've been gone for so long, that the topic would be something that I love talking about. And that is UFOs, the possibility of life outside of space, and... Wait. I know I didn't just say that, did I? Life outside of space. Can you have life outside of space? Is there anything outside of space? Guess we'll have to discuss that too. Anyways, let's try this again. The topic is space. Possibility of life on other planets, and our all personal favorite, UFOs. Before we get started though, I will apologize about the sound quality because of the fact that unfortunately I'm not able to record in the space, different type of space, that I normally would. But I want to get this out to y'all. It's been too long and I didn't want to hold off any longer. I wanted to get this out to you. But anyways, let's get to the topic at hand. And what better way to quote a book, one of my favorites, and that is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And in it, the quote, space, it says, is big, really big. you just won't believe how vast, hugely, mind-boggling big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. And it truly is, if you think about it. If you think about all the billions, trillions, gazillions.
1 billion, gajillion, fifillion, million
of stars and planets out there, and just everything else roaming around. We are just pretty much a grain of sand in the sea of emptiness. Can you say emptiness? I mean, you got stars, planets, and other things out there. Couldn't you really say that space is empty? Maybe I need to think of a different word for that. Now my mind's going to be thinking about trying to figure out what to say instead of emptiness for space. 2 hours later. Okay. But nah, space has always been one of my favorite topics, and it's been something that has been thought about since the beginning of man. We've all wondered at some point in time about what could possibly be out there and how big it actually is. I mean, you think of the times of the ancient Egypts, the Mayans, the ones that built Stonehenge. All of those, in some form or fashion, use the stars and use just space in general to be able to live life, to know when to grow their crops, when certain times of the years were going to be worse than others, meaning when winter was going to come, or whenever it was time for you to get back out and work the fields and whatnot. We look to the stars, we look to the heavens, as they say, and we could tell when everything was going to happen, because it was pretty much a cycle that you could pretty much tell every year about the same time. And so it's no wonder that people would sit there and wonder if there was something more out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, look at Earth. Even as small as it is compared to the rest of the universe, it's still pretty big. There's still parts of this planet that we still haven't discovered, or at least explored. We might know that the area is there, but we can't get to it, or if we can get to it, it's too dangerous for us to get to. But I've always been one of those type of people that believes that there's got to be more than just what's on this planet. Now, I won't say that I go as far as believing that 100% guaranteed that there are other life forms out there that can sit there and zip through from galaxy to galaxy, that can go 100 million light years within a matter of minutes or hours or whatever. I won't say that. What I will say is I do believe that there has to be other life on other planets similar to ours. Maybe not necessarily looking human or even anywhere near the structure of like our DNA, our genes, or anything like that. But maybe they're on the same level of thinking, maybe even on the same level of technology as us. Might be behind us, might be a little bit further than us, but just not quite where you need to be to travel to stars like that. It's something that has always fascinated me. I mean, you just think about it. We have no idea what life or possibility of life is on the planets that are close to us. I mean, we've had people talk about that there are that microorganisms came from rocks that was shot into space from places like Mars and whatnot. But how do we know exactly if there's not something more to that? The main keys to life, for us anyways, is mainly water, air, and a few other elements that need to come together for us to be able to exist. But who's to say that on another planet that there can't be some other type of life form, some other type of being that doesn't need water to survive, that doesn't need oxygen to breathe? We're going to go back to an old TV show. Been so long since I've seen it that I don't remember the exact time frame, but I think it was sometime in the 90s. There was a TV show called Sliders. It was about a group of people that didn't go through space. They went through portals to basically alternate dimensions. And that's a topic for another time. But I brought that up for the simple fact that I remember there was an episode where at the end of it, you found out that the thing that was causing a lot of fires was a life form that was in an alternate dimension that needed fire to be able to survive. So how do we know that there can't be planets like that? Like I said, in that show that had to do with alternate dimensions, but that's not to say that it couldn't be here. There could be a fiery planet somewhere out there that is mainly fire, lava, or whatnot, and you have these type of beings that are surviving. Now, they come to this planet, they might not be able to survive, because I mean, yes, fire needs oxygen on this planet to continue to burn, but there's plenty of ways of putting it out. But yeah, that's the type of stuff that makes you think, makes you wonder, how can there be all these planets, all these stars, all these moons and whatnot, and we somehow are the only planet that has life? And I know a lot of people is going to jump on me about the religious aspect, and I don't believe that you can't be religious and also believe that there is life out there as well. I believe both can coexist, because I believe that whatever you want to believe in, be it God, Allah, Buddha, or any of the other God or gods out there, you can believe in that. And I believe that such a being or beings can create life on other planets as well. You just never know. But anyways, to get back to our own planet, people have always wondered if we went out into the stars, because it's all talked about. I mean, as far as we're concerned, it probably will never happen in our lifetime, as of right now as I speak. But it is said that someday the sun will grow hotter. It will grow bigger before it ends up burning out. And that in order for the human race to be able to survive, we would have to find another planet. We'd have to pack up our stuff, and hopefully we do it before all the dolphins disappear. Well, of course, we'll know whenever they thank us for all the fish. Yes, like I said, that's one of my favorite books, so I do quote that sometimes. As humans, it's all about survival, about what we're going to do to be able to continue on if such a thing happens to where one day our sun decides to just burn out. Even if it doesn't do like they said, where it's going to expand and we end up becoming a new Mercury.
Oh, hot, 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 hot.
if eventually if it burns out, then it's going to be very hard for life, any life at all, to survive on this planet. So we must go out into the final frontier. And hopefully it will be like Star Trek by then, but we never know. But we will have to find another planet. And they claim that there are other planets out there that are supposed to be similar to us. Unfortunately for us, most of them are too far away. It was just recently, just as a matter of fact, it was just this past January that NASA apparently had found or identified an Earth-sized world that was, from what they can tell, is similar to ours, called TOI 700E, which happens to be orbiting a star that is similar to us. It's about 95% Earth size, and they believe that it is rocky. How it would work out with living on that planet if we were able to get to it, saying if everything was good, that it has water, has air, has all the stuff that we need, nutrients and minerals and whatever else for us to survive. I don't know how that all worked, but hey, it's a possibility. There's been countless planets of possibilities. They all in that what they consider Goldilocks planet. Goldilocks zone, my bad. I know. I'm tired. I've been up for a long time. And yeah, I'm just crazy. So so my mind is not working properly right now. And I know, before you say it, when has it ever? But yeah, they also, from my understanding, they've previously found 3 other planets in that system as well, called TOI 700 B, C, and D. Now, where A is, I have no idea. Apparently A does not exist. But anyways, that has been something that, especially since NASA came about, that people have been trying to find for generations. I mean, you have all the popular ones from Kepler, whenever we sent the satellite out looking for planets with it. I mean, you have Kepler 442b, you have Kepler 452b, and Kepler 69c. All planets that, from what they can tell, are similar to Earth, at least in the fact of where they're located. Now, if they can actually sustain life, that's another story. But it's just fascinating that about the fact that there's even a possibility that if those planets are out there, that if those planets do have what we need to survive, that there's possibilities that there are Earth-like creatures on those planets that are living and surviving as we speak. They may even be looking up into the sky, wondering where we're at. And of course, then again, they might know that we're here, and that's the reason why they ain't saying nothing. They're not visiting, because they know humans be crazy. But it is something to make you think about, and the possibilities that if there are life out there, if there is some type of being that is, who knows, hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of years ahead of us in technology, in the way of thinking, in just being able to live life. For all we know, think about it like this. They always talk about how aliens come to visit and whatnot. What if, just what if, as I said before, they're thousands or millions of years ahead of us as far as how life goes? We could just be to them as museum here on Earth. Like, we go to a museum and we see stuff that was made or that existed hundreds of years ago. or thousands of years ago. They come here, but instead of us being just some type of object or some type of what remained of a species, we're still living, and they could see how their life was back during the same time period as us. I mean, it's something to think about. I know you're sitting there thinking, "K-Man, that's just way off the wall," and it's a possibility. But the one thing that I always try to, I always try to keep an open mind. It might be far-fetched, but one thing that I always live by this motto: nothing is impossible. Improbable, yes. Impossible, no. So, yeah, who knows? It could be. Which brings me to the point of let's get around to talking about UFOs in general. For as far back as recorded history, man has always believed that there is some kind of beings that have come to visit it. Depending on what you believe in and the spectrum you are, it all depends on what you believe those beings are. I mean, for a lot of religious people, they believe it to be encounters with angels or demons or the likes. And then you got some people that believe that it's aliens coming to visit and to shape the world a certain way. Now, be it good or bad, that is another that's a whole nother thing. Because I mean, if you listen to a lot of ones on ancient aliens, they believe 100% sure that any alien that has come in the past, not necessarily anything recent, because of course you don't hear people talking about UFO sightings like you did many lifetimes ago, but you do still hear them talk about. But the bottom line is that they talk, whenever you hear ancient aliens on a TV show, they talk about how they believe that aliens have come down to shape our world for the better, to help us progress into a higher form of being or higher form of intelligence or something like that. But that don't necessarily mean that's the case. I mean, who's to say that they, not all of them, but that there is not a group out there that would not want to try to do it for the worst, to make our lives worse, or as a sort of science experiment, see if they could turn things to where it doesn't come to a good outcome for us. Who knows? But anyways, since the beginning of mankind, or at least recorded mankind history, there's always been talk about seeing objects in the sky and seeing these beings come from the during ancient times when they wouldn't know how to identify an aircraft or how to identify a UFO. They would say that chariots of fire would come from the sky and these beings would come out and look humanoid and would come and visit and talk and whatever else. And people would say that their interaction and would give them things and whatnot. And that would shape the world. I mean, what is the possibility? Like I said, I don't necessarily believe that it's exactly like how the TV show Ancient Aliens has described them, but who knows? It could run somewheres along those lines. We may never know. But there's always been talk about aliens. There's always been talk about some type of UFOs, seeing lights in the sky. And I will admit myself, as different times throughout my lifetime, seeing lights and weird objects in the sky that didn't quite make sense. It might not have been UFOs, but it was definitely something that was, to me, was unidentified. I've seen lights in the sky where you'd have a light jumping back and forth. I at one time even tried to record something, had the camera completely still, and the light still would not stay in frame. It would be bouncing around. So I mean, who's to say? Who's to say what that was? I mean, people that a lot of people could say it was a lot of things. People could say it was a reflection of something, even though there were no other lights at the time, other than the stars in the sky. There were you looking at, whenever I seen stuff like this. This was in not necessarily the middle of nowhere, but you didn't have the light pollution like you do in cities in this area. Like I said, the only light you had was the light of the stars. But people would sit there and say that, oh yeah, it's a reflection of something, or or maybe it was a satellite or some other type of aircraft. But to me, to see how it bounced around, it didn't make no sense because as far as I know, satellites can only go in one direction, and though they might be going fast around the planet, to our eyes, they're not moving that fast. As far as aircrafts go, as of right now, I do not know of any aircraft that would bounce around like that. So who knows? Maybe I have encountered seeing UFOs, seeing alien spacecraft flying around. I won't say that I did. I won't say that I won't, or haven't, I mean. But I will say that I have seen something. And I do believe that there is a possibility of what I've seen. But there have always been all types of UFOs and other encounters. Just a few examples. The most famous one of all that everybody goes to when they talk about UFOs is the Roswell crash, where you had something cause what was supposed to be a spacecraft crash into the planet, and there was apparently alien life forms found in it. Now, depending on who you talk to, depends on what story you get, but some people say that all the beings were dead as on impact. Some say that you had at least one, maybe two that had survived, though be it not very long, but they were alive whenever the officials first came onto the scene. And ever since then, especially in Roswell, in that area, it has been excitement and something to talk about from generations ever since. Of course, now you do have all the ones that will sit there and say that it was just a weather balloon or what have you, but I mean, when have we not had government officials lie to us, especially if they think that it's going to panic the people or if it's going to make the government look bad? Now you're sitting there talking about, now how is covering up an alien UFO going to make the government look bad? Well, I mean, if you start having aliens come to this planet and we start interacting with them, we'll go the route of, we'll say these are good aliens. We're going to go the route of saying that they actually want to help. They want to make life, not just for humans, but just life in general, better. If they start teaching us how to live life in harmony, how to live life better, then why would we need a government to be empowered? Why would we need anything of the sort running our day-to-day lives? If we could run it ourselves, if we had the technology to pretty much live life, sustain life on our own. I mean, you look at ones like Tesla that tried to come up with wireless electricity to where we wouldn't have to have all these cords and plug-ins and whatnot. It would just be a constant signal that would be constantly keeping the batteries on all our stuff charged, be it phones, be it computers, be it vehicles, whatever. And that's another thing that I like to bring up is you look at how far advanced we've come as a species as far as technology goes since the Roswell crash. I mean, we've always been pushing forward with technology, but one can't argue or can't really argue much about how within 50, 60 years, how much technology advanced from that time period. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that it was a UFO crashed and we somewhat backwards engineered their technology, but you looking at how slowly technology was upgraded throughout human history, and then all of a sudden, boom, we look at all what we got these days. Pretty much with a phone, you got a calculator, you got internet, you got a way to communicate with people via text messaging or regular phone calls. You can sit there and find almost anything you want on your phone. And you looking at, I don't know how many of y'all live back that far or just pay attention in general, but go back to the time of the 80s with just cell phones in general. Look how far advanced we've gone within that time. I mean, look how far advanced we went from the 80s to the late 90s within a span of not barely even 20 years, how far that technology came along. And now you look at where we're at now. It's just amazing how quickly everything's gone. I mean, though it's not likely, but it is a possibility that it could have come from something like that. And yes, I know. It is a crazy thought here, but, and I know you're sitting there like, but K-Man, if they can reverse technology, why haven't they reversed technology into making spacecrafts that can go into outer space? Well, one, that's a little bit harder than sitting there doing communications. But also, who's to say they haven't? Maybe not on the scale of us traveling light years away, but who's to say that they don't? Whatever technology that the normal public has nowadays, I can guarantee you that there is somebody out there, be it a government, or be it just a regular scientist, somebody out there has technology that's even more advanced than what we know about. Because, I mean, truth be told, if you have that kind of technology, are you going to seriously let everybody know that you have it? But anyways, you have instances like Roswell. You have instances of like fire in the sky. When we sit there and talk about the group of guys that where their friend had allegedly had been abducted by aliens, and it went into this complete thing where for the longest time people believed that they had killed him and whatnot, and then after like a week later he turned up in the middle of nowheres away from where he originally had been so-called picked up by aliens. And to this day, other than their accounts, nobody can explain if where he was or what had happened to him during that time that he had been missing. You have instances of, well, we'll go even closer to the time that this was, shoot, my mind's blanking on the year, but I think it was either before I was born or not long after. But there was an incident in an area close to where I grew up at, where you had a couple of guys that claimed to have been abducted while out fishing. Now I think about it, was 1973. So yeah, it was way before I was born. But you had a couple of guys, trying to think of their names, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker. They both claimed to have been abducted by aliens while fishing near the Pascagoula River. Then, now, years later, back in the 77, apparently they had a dozen law enforcement officers witness a giant floating object above the trees, and there's just thousands and just of different eyewitness accounts and whatnot, and it makes it hard for somebody not to at least acknowledge, even if you don't fully agree with it or fully believe in it. It's hard not to acknowledge that there is a possibility of something similar as that. I mean, some people believe it's just a conspiracy, others believe that it's real, but we'll go back to the time of the World Wars, back during Nazi Germany and whatnot. You had, this shows you how strong those reports are and how strong of a belief in UFOs and alien life is that there's even reports of the Nazis sitting there trying to create their own flying saucer, something based off of what they claim to have created or seen and tried to reverse engineer. Trying to think of the other one. We go back to the Kecksburg UFO. It was a UFO that, from the description, was similar to a shape of a bell, and that one had supposedly crashed in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Now, of course, naturally, the government, NASA, and ones like that, they regardless if it actually happened or not, they are going to naturally say that it was all just a misunderstanding, that apparently that a Soviet satellite had crashed to Earth. But you never know. I mean, if you're not wanting the public to panic, then would you not want to sit there and say that it was something other than what it actually was? I don't know. It's kind of hard to believe that there are so many planets out there that things like this could not exist. I mean, it's just like in recent times with the hype of UFO talk and whatnot. Now, I have yet to hear any official words on any actual confirmations, but because, I mean, if you want to base it off of what conspiracy theorists believe, or just people in general that believes that the government is trying to cover up something else, that they could just be saying it just to cover it up. But you have, like recently, where the government was talking about for the longest time that there was proof that there was UFOs and they were going to release it. And so far, to my knowledge, I mean, I'll have to look into it a lot deeper, but to my knowledge, that has not come out yet. As a matter of fact, a lot of what people have said about it, just them trying to distract people, is becoming more and more, it's like it's being, like it's coming true. It's sounding more reasonable. But that's not to say that they don't have any type of knowledge or documents or even any type of physical proof that aliens do exist, that UFOs have visited this planet, or that I shouldn't say UFOs because yes, UFOs have visited the planet because there are plenty of aircrafts and other things that we as humans have created that could be considered a UFO if we don't know what it is. So yeah, let me rephrase that. They might have proof that there are alien spacecrafts, that there are spaceships from other places that is not Earth. I don't know. It's something to think about, something to really make you wonder. I don't know what do y'all believe, and that's my question. I mean, shout me out on my social media accounts and whatnot, and let me know what you believe. Because I mean, we could sit here and talk for hours on all the different things that could be out there, what is out there, and what we all individually believe in. I mean, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in we've been visited by them? Do you believe that there is life outside of this planet? Maybe not on the scale of extraterrestrials that can travel the stars. Maybe they're on a similar level to us. There's so much on this planet that can't be explained. Why isn't it a possibility that there's stuff outside of this planet that can't be explained? Or it can be explained, but we just haven't been able to grasp the concept of what it means. Look, I'm one of those people that if you, I don't know how many of y'all have seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm pretty much in that middle part where I like the movie. I don't think it I don't have the hype in it as a lot of people do put into it. But the bottom line of me talking about that movie is, and this is a spoiler alert. I mean, this movie's been out for too long for you, most of y'all. For anybody that wants to see it, that hasn't, y'all have had plenty of time to see it. And for a lot of people that hasn't seen it, they probably don't really care if they see it or not. So, spoiler alert, towards the end, the aliens give a group of people an opportunity to go with them. Mainly scientists is what's being sent. But you have the main character that wasn't necessarily a scientist. He was just really fascinated by everything. He was given the opportunity to go with them to explore and just see what the aliens could see. And personally, that would be me. If I had an opportunity to climb aboard a starship and travel around, be it the universe, be it galaxy, be it someplace that's a million light years away, I would take that opportunity. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Earth. There's a lot of things that I like, and if I had to spend the rest of my life on Earth, then so be it. I would not be mad. But I can't help it. I mean, to be able to see things that most people have never seen and a ton more will never be able to see, to travel to distant galaxies, to see other planets, to see stars up closer than what we see now, to just be able to experience that, to know that as small as we are in this existence, to be able to see something grander. And to be able to do that with a being or beings that are more advanced and that understand and know more than we do, that can explain to us, that can show us something that we may overlook. That would just be something fantastic. And I know that there are many others out there like me. And then I know that there are many others that, even if they believed in UFOs, if they believed in aliens and whatever else, they just they would be content, or they, I don't really want to say content, but it would be for them. And I know people that, even if they believe in aliens or believe in UFOs or whatever else, that they would still want to stay on Earth. It'd be the equivalent of Mount Everest. Like, it's a great place. Like, if you want to try to visit, the the danger part aside, not even looking at how dangerous of a climate is, just the sheer height of it and whatnot. There's people that would still not go up it, even if they could guarantee that they were going to get up there safely. I know plenty of people like that, and they would be the same way with going into space. They believe in it, but they would never. And this is coming from somebody with me. I know space is a little bit different than just a regular sky, but for like with me, I've never been too crazy about heights. So it's a wonder that I ever get in an airplane or anything like that. But I'd get on a UFO and travel throughout space. I don't know. That is another question for you that you can catch me on social media or in my emails, which I do have a regular email for y'all now. It's a little bit simpler. I mean, there's still the boundaries at gmail.com, which is my company's email address, but now you can email me at the ogkman at gmail.com as well. That goes directly to me. You don't have no in between people on that one. But anyways, but yeah, I could sit here and I could go on hours and hours about UFOs and about planets outside and of our solar system and just space in general, because that's a topic that I love to talk about. But I know I probably bored you, and I don't want to do too much right now, because we could definitely break down a lot of these instances. I definitely would like to talk about Roswell a lot more, and I'd like to do research on some other famous places as well, just like the Kecksburg UFO, and talk about it more in depth and not just in general of other stuff. But so yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up for this time. Like I said, I just wanted to get this out there to you because I kept on putting it off and putting it off, and I just wanted to let y'all know that I do appreciate y'all's support, not only for this podcast, but for my music, for just about any of my endeavors that I've ever put into it. Hopefully I can knock out some time to not only get more information about this other stuff, but I have a book that I do want to finish writing that I put off more than I do anything else. I don't know why. I think it's one of those deals where for the book that I'm writing, I have the beginning, I have the ending to it, but it's just, for me, it's trying to put them both together in something that seems good, that sounds good, and that's going to be entertaining, but it's also going to make sense whenever you put the beginning and end together. And I got so many ideas for it that it's just hard for me to sit down and just choose one thing and go straight with it. But I do have that, and so I'm hoping that that'll come around here soon. And speaking about UFOs and aliens and whatnot, and talking about books as well, I do have one book that. So when I was looking for something else on my external hard drive, I came across an old book that I wrote to many, many years ago, and it had to do with aliens and UFOs, and so maybe I'll break that one out and try to fix it up a little bit, try to bring it up a little bit more entertainment. I mean, it is a good book just as it is, but like I said, you looking at this book was written probably at least 10, 15 years ago. So yeah, it definitely needs to be a little bit freshened up and edited and whatnot. But maybe while I'm trying to get this other book that I really want to get out there, maybe while I'm working on it, I can get this one. Who knows? But it definitely, I want to get more stuff out to you. These podcasts, I might try to get more per month out, but I will try to get at least one per month out. But yeah, anyways, I won't bore you anymore with my ramblings. Again, thank you for listening to this podcast and listen to me rant. And know that I do appreciate each and every last one of y'all. Y'all know that that love comes back to you tenfold. And so, yeah, I'm out of here for now. I'll try to get this and other podcasts out to you as quickly as possible. Keep tabs on everything that's coming at you on my official website, xtheboundaries.co. Or if you want to follow me on any of my social media outlets, even though all the links are on the website, I'll go ahead and tell you a couple of them now. If you want to follow me on X, which is formerly Twitter, you can x.com/the OG Man, or Instagram, same thing, Instagram.com/the OG Man. I'm always up for discussion on just about anything. So shoot me an email, shoot me a DM, whatever, and I will gladly respond back. But till then, this is the K-Man. And now that I know this this episode wasn't as crazy as what I made it sound out to be, but for some reason, whenever it's a topic that I'm truly passionate about, I get a little too serious. Yeah, I know. It sounds weird, but yeah, the K-Man does have a serious side every now and then. But yeah, y'all take it easy, and I will talk to y'all later.